We're probably going to delve into some sexism and some gender issues with some of the discussion that I've got. I actually made notes tonight. I'm so fucking worked up over this shit. All this crap. Out on a bike for a little bit today. Was in Reynoldsburg. Bunch of rich little white kids and white women out protesting Black Lives Matter. That's kind of what got me started on this today. So anyway, if you guys don't have me on YouTube, you need to get your butts over there. I'm gone and I'm live on YouTube now. So here we go. All right. So tonight we are going to talk racism. We're going to talk about white privilege or the lack thereof. We're going to talk about some facts. We end up crossing over into some sexism and some sexual identity and gender issues with a couple of the issues I got to talk about. So what got me started today was needed to go to the butcher shop, get some meat and shit because we're out of food in the house. So I ran over to Reynoldsburg, Ohio, a part of Columbus area. Those of you who aren't around, and a bunch of little rich white kids, teens, and white women protesting on the corner with Black Lives Matter signs. Well, as I rode by, I stopped at the corner and I explained to them, you know what? All lives should matter, not just fucking black lives. They didn't like my opinion. That's what the problem is. When it comes to racism, everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to spew their shit and their talking points, but nobody wants to listen. And nobody really wants to deal with facts. Facts are the end all solution to everything. They give you the information, the data that you need to make an educated decision. Let's talk about some facts, okay? We live in supposedly a racist country, all right? What month's February? History Month, all right? Do we have a White History Month? Do we have a Jewish History Month? Do we have a Latin History Month? Do we have an Italian History Month? No, we don't. We have Black History Month, though. You know what history is? It's American history. So is white history and any other demographic in our country. The fact that we have Black History Month is racist against anybody who is not black. And this is done to perpetuate cycles. They want to keep us divided. They want to keep us separated and fighting amongst ourselves because then we don't realize all the rights and privileges we're losing as Americans. So how about to solve this? I'm not a white man. You're not a black man or a Hispanic man. Yeah. How about we're Americans? Simple. It's really that fucking simple. And well, no, it's not. There's systemic racism. The police is systemic racism against a black man. Okay, well, using racism from the past, from the 50s, 60s, from slavery time, that's irrelevant. That has no bearing or impact on where we live today or where we live tomorrow. You're living in the past, well, you're fucked. You can't change the past. You can make the present better and you can alter what the future is. You can make the future better by your actions in the present. If you're living in the past and you're using information and talking points from the past as your argument for how things are today or tomorrow, you're a fool and you're going to lose and you're going to stay exactly where you're at. Using false charges from the past, it doesn't fix the present. You know, what the real problem in America is a systemic breakdown of the family unit. In the 60s, we're going to go black here for a minute, okay? In the 60s, 80% of blacks, they were a two-parent family. 80% in the 60s. Now, that's almost exact opposite. Okay? Now, everybody loves President Obama. Everybody. Yeah. He was a great black healer. Yeah. Black Lives Matter came out. We started the war on the police and everything. Obama flat out said, these are his words, the breakdown of the family unit is the #1 problem facing black Americans. Now, honestly, he was wrong. It's the #1 problem facing all Americans. But we're focusing on blacks because of George Floyd. All right. I'm going to touch on George Floyd for a minute because his funeral's been on TV all fucking day. Now, who is George Floyd? Well, he was a man who was murdered by the police. Tragedy. Horrible. He was murdered. These men need to pay. These cops need to pay for murdering him. But who is George Floyd? Okay? The day he died, he didn't deserve to die. But the facts of the matter is he's a career criminal. He served time multiple times for armed robbery, for numerous things. At one point in time, and I have the court documents to show this, and I can put them on Facebook or something for somebody if they want to see them, but he was arrested and went to prison for going into a woman's home, a pregnant woman. He held a gun to her stomach, pointed at her unborn child, while him and his buddies robbed her. That day, his murder would have been justified. He's a career criminal. He's been in and out of prison his whole life. Is he really the poster child you want for this? Now, don't misunderstand me. What happened to him was a tragedy. The day that he was murdered, that should not have happened. And those men do need to pay for that. They need to pay. No doubt about it. It was cold-blooded murder. But let's really talk about the real issues. You know, perception and stereotypes, they're there for a reason. They're there to keep you where you were and where you are. When you feed into these stereotypes, when you, whether you're black, white, brown, whatever color, when you're walking down the street with your pants down around your knees and your ass hanging out, you're feeding into a stereotype that is going to hold you back. Now, I got tattoos all over me, but when you start putting tattoos all over your face that say fuck the police and fuck this, you know, I'm not a fan of cops. I've been fucked over by several times. But is that really all that bright? That's just like being some dumb fucking redneck putting a marijuana leaf on the back window of your truck, and then you're wondering why the cops are fucking searching your vehicle every time they stop you for speeding. Well, you're advertising that there's a good chance that you have drugs in your vehicle. It's stupid, okay? Smoke pot, great. Hey, no fucking issue there. But you're going to put that on your car, or you're going to tattoo it on your cheek, or you're going to wear your shirt, and then you're going to wonder why, when you get stopped by the police, they search you and think you may have drugs. Well, you kind of set yourself up for that one. Now, back to Obama's point. The breakdown of the family unit is the #1 problem facing black children. Well, fuck Obama. #1 problem facing all Americans. It's a fact. Children who grow up without fathers in the home, 5% more likely to grow up in a poor neighborhood and to be poor. 9% drop out, never finish high school. 20% end up doing time in jail because they did not have that father figure, that role model. This goes right back to the systemic breakdown of the family unit, which is being done politically to keep us submissive and fighting amongst ourselves. It's just that fucking simple. Okay. Hey, Dwayne. In 1 year, there were 14,000 homicides. Okay. 7,000 of them black on black. half of the homicides in the country that year were black on black. Where's Black Lives Matters then? Okay. It's ignorance that's keeping us where we're at. It's not racism. Freddie Ray was killed in Baltimore. Okay. Population of Baltimore, 45% black. Okay. Government entirely Democratic. Majority of the council, black. The number one cop in the city, black. Number two cop in the city, black. Majority of the administrative staff of the police departments and the city, black. Mayor of the city, black. Attorney General, black. Okay, how is this systemic racism? Answer that one for me. It's not. That's just a bunch of fucking propaganda. 5 deaths. 4% of those deaths, 4% was white on black. Okay? Chicago's population was 1/3 white, 1/3 black, 1/3 Hispanic. 70% of those homicides, 70% of those homicides was black on black. Where the fuck was Black Lives Matters then? You know? Racism today is a fucking lie. And that's where we're going to get into white privilege now. Well, you were born a white man. You don't understand. You know, we're being discriminated against. We can't get a fair job. We can't get a break. We can't get an education. We can't get out of the cycle. Black College Fund. That's not racist. Black College Fund. Is there a white college fund? No. No. Never happened. Yeah. Affirmative action came along several years back. I'm going to tell you about a job I used to have. I used to live in Dallas. I worked in Irving. I worked for a general contractor. I was project manager and estimator. We did millions of dollars of government work. Most of it was school work, but it was all government contracts. And all those government contracts you had to bid on. Now, what decided whether or not you were awarded that contract was not the price you gave them, not your competency to perform the job. It was minority participation. Okay? What is a minority? Well, according to the government, a minority is a woman. It is a person of a different sexual identity, homosexual, lesbian, transgender, bisexual. Women fell into the minority category by the basis of the government on that. And you actually got points for how many minority categories and minority contractors and employees you had involved in your project bid. So if I was bidding a $7 million job to the government, if I wanted to get that job, it didn't matter if I bid $699,000 or if I bid $10 million. That was totally irrelevant. What mattered was my minority participation. What mattered was how many minorities I had as subcontractors for that project. How many businesses that were owned by historically underutilized demographics, blacks, Hispanics, homosexuals, transgender, women. So there was no basis, no scoring whatsoever on competency. It didn't even matter if I could verify that I had all the aspects of the bid covered, that I had even put together a complete bid. What the majority of it was based off of was solely minority participation. So if I had a white male contractor that had been doing the job for 30 years and was competent, had the training, had the credentials to do the job, And I had a minority contractor that just put his business together yesterday, had no experience, couldn't fund the project, didn't have the staffing to do it. If I used the minority contractor, I would get the job. Tell me how that makes sense. Because what would happen then is they would fail. And then I would have to subsidize them with that other contractor that was competent to do the job. And they would still get paid for doing the job, even though they didn't complete it. And then I would have to pay a different subcontractor to finish the job, somebody who was competent to do the job. It didn't matter what their sexual identity was, what color their skin was. I would have to bring somebody in who was able to complete the job on time, on schedule. Otherwise, I was punished for not getting the job done because the minority contractor that I was forced to use that wasn't competent to do the job in the first place was, the problem. How is that racism? How is that sexism? When we're going to take somebody based on their skin color or their sexual identity, and we're going to move them to the front of the line, that is exactly the definition of racism, sexism. Exactly what it is. So, how are we discriminating against blacks, Hispanics, whatever in this scenario? We're not. The fact of the matter is, if I could find a black or a Hispanic woman who was gay, and then she had a physical disability on top of that, it was fucking golden. I would get the fucking job. It went to the point where, what would happen is contractors would set up their employees, and this is how it would end up working. Okay, they would set up their employees with a business, and a minority employee would be up to his own construction company. He wouldn't even show up on the job. He would get paid a percentage from a contractor who was competent to do the job. And this contractor, it didn't matter who he was, what color he was, whatever. Whatever contractor was able to do the job, actually perform it, would figure into his cost, what it was going to cost to pay a fee to this minority to set him up in a shell company, a fake company, and pay him to be able to use a minority certificate so that they could proceed to get in on this bid and get the work. How's that white privilege when you're being punished for being white? Or you're being punished for being straight? How's that not sexism? Fact of the matter is, racism is a fucking joke. Today, it is a fucking joke. If you think you're being oppressed by somebody because of your skin color, you're a fucking idiot, okay? The fact of the matter is we live in a country where everybody has opportunity. There are laws and rules in place that I think are bullshit in today's society. And if there is actually systemic racism, I hate to tell you, but it's not going the way you want it to. It's not in favor of your movement. So you might want to rethink this, okay? Black Lives Matter? Fuck you. All lives matter? Fuck you. You matter if you make a difference, if you contribute. If not, you don't fucking matter. It's that fucking simple. Now, I know that people are going to be pissed off because I talked about George's background, his criminal background. Well, that was in the past, but wasn't that far off. Let me tell you. And like I said, I've got, the documents that I can share with you. What happened to that man was horrible. It should not have happened that day. But all these little fucking rich white kids and suburban housewives running around feeling white guilt. I didn't see a single black kid out there in that protest. I didn't see anybody that was not white and well-to-do. That's just fucking ignorant. White guilt. Did you ever own a slave? I didn't. I've never even seen a slave. Not in my lifetime. How am I responsible for that? And how is what happened 100 years ago relevant today in today's society? It's not. You're putting yourself into a box where you can be a fucking victim. Well, you want to be a victim? Fine. Go crawl down in a basement, crawl down an alley somewhere and fucking be a victim. But shut the fuck up and stop shitting all over society for the rest of us that want to make the world a better place. You're not African American. You're not Latin American. You're not Italian American. You're not Jewish American. You're not Asian American. You're either a fucking American or you're not. That's how you stop fucking racism in this country. Same thing with sexism. Doesn't matter if you're gay, you're straight, you're bi, you're sexual, you fuck goats. You take all those descriptive words out. You're a human fucking being. Act like one. Be good people. It's really that simple. But hey, fuck y'all. That's just my opinion. Hope y'all have a good night. And I'll probably come back on later this week, probably Friday or so. But I'll share this on Facebook, but I doubt it'll stay up long because it doesn't support the narrative that's out there. But fuck racism. Fuck. I'm sick of it. I am not going to apologize for being white. You shouldn't apologize for being black. And we shouldn't hate each other because of it. But that's all I got. God bless you. Let's see if I can get this to end. My touch screen doesn't work.